The upcoming boxing match between Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda is generating significant buzz, with fans and analysts eagerly anticipating a clash that could define Stevenson's career. Stevenson, an undefeated lightweight champion known for his technical mastery and defensive prowess, is preparing to face Zepeda, a relentless pressure fighter with an aggressive style and an impressive knockout rate. The fight, set for July 12, 2025, is seen as a critical test for Stevenson, who has faced criticism for his cautious approach despite his flawless record. Meanwhile, Zepeda's high-volume punching and unyielding forward momentum make him a formidable opponent, one who could push Stevenson to his limits. The stakes are high, with Stevenson aiming to solidify his status as one of boxing's elite, while Zepeda looks to prove he can compete at the highest level. Stevenson, a three-division world champion at just 27 years old, has long been compared to legends like Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Pernell Whitaker. His ring IQ, precise footwork, and ability to neutralize opponents have earned him praise from promoters like Eddie Hearn, who believe Stevenson could be a superstar not just in boxing but in American sports. Yet, despite his achievements, Stevenson has faced persistent criticism for his style. Fans and analysts often describe his fights as too safe, lacking the excitement of knockouts or aggressive exchanges. His bouts against opponents like Edwin de los Santos, Arten Harat-Union, and Robson Conceição showcased his ability to dominate with slick movement and clean counters, but they left some viewers wanting more offense. This fight against Zepeda offers Stevenson a chance to address those critiques by facing an opponent who thrives on chaos and relentless pressure. Zepeda, a southpaw with an 81% knockout rate, is the antithesis of Stevenson's controlled approach. Known for throwing punches in bunches, Zepeda overwhelms his opponents with sheer volume, often disregarding counters to maintain his offensive onslaught. His recent performances, including 2 victories over the durable Tevin Farmer, have solidified his reputation as a dangerous contender. While he didn't secure a knockout in either Farmer fight, Zepeda's ability to maintain pressure and control rounds against a seasoned defensive fighter speaks to his skill. His majority decision win in Cancun against Farmer demonstrated his consistency and ability to handle tricky opponents, setting the stage for this high-profile matchup with Stevenson. The stylistic contrast between the two fighters is what makes this bout so intriguing. Stevenson is a master of distance and timing, using his jab and footwork to keep opponents at bay while landing precise shots. His ability to adapt mid-fight and frustrate opponents is well documented, with many fighters leaving the ring feeling outclassed. Zepeda, on the other hand, is a pressure fighter who thrives in close quarters, cutting off the ring and forcing opponents to engage on his terms. His approach is simple but effective: throw punches relentlessly, overwhelm with volume, and wear down even the most skilled boxers. This classic boxer versus puncher matchup is complicated by Zepeda's unique blend of southpaw aggression and durability, which could test Stevenson's ability to maintain control for 12 rounds. Analysts have mixed opinions on how the fight will unfold. Some, like Stevenson's training partner and WBO lightweight champion Keyshawn Davis, are confident in Stevenson's ability to dominate. Davis, who has sparred with Stevenson and witnessed his preparation firsthand, predicts a knockout, citing Stevenson's focus and precision in camp. He believes Stevenson's technical edge and ability to neutralize Zepeda's style will lead to a decisive victory, potentially in the 9th or 10th round. Others, however, see the fight as closer. Teofimo Lopez, a fellow lightweight contender, has suggested that the bout could be a 50-50 affair if Stevenson doesn't let his combinations flow. Lopez points to Zepeda's relentless output, noting that his willingness to take punches to land his own could pose problems for Stevenson's defensive style. Veteran trainer Greg Hackett offers a nuanced perspective, emphasizing the importance of ring size in determining the outcome. In a larger ring, Stevenson's movement and ability to control distance could give him the upper hand, allowing him to dictate the pace and avoid Zepeda's pressure. In a smaller ring, however, Zepeda's ability to close the gap and force exchanges could tilt the fight in his favor. Hackett acknowledges Stevenson's superior speed, angles, and accuracy compared to someone like Tevin Farmer, who gave Zepeda trouble in spots but ultimately succumbed to his pressure. However, he also warns that Stevenson's relatively low punch output could be a liability against Zepeda's relentless work rate. If Stevenson can't match Zepeda's activity or generate enough power to keep him at bay, he risks being overwhelmed. Stevenson's past performances provide insight into how he might approach this fight. Against Oscar Valdez in a unification bout, Stevenson showed a rare willingness to engage more offensively, standing closer and throwing 72 more punches than his opponent. While he dominated the fight, outlanding Valdez 189-110, He also took more shots than usual, highlighting the trade-off between aggression and defensive control. In contrast, his fight against Edwin de los Santos saw Stevenson at his most cautious, throwing just 209 punches over 12 rounds, the lowest output of his career in a full-length bout. Stevenson attributed the low volume to an injury, but the performance underscored his preference for safety and control over flashy offense. Against Zepeda, who is expected to throw upwards of 70 to 100 punches per round, Stevenson will need to find a balance between his defensive mastery and enough offensive output to win rounds decisively. Zepeda, for his part, is well aware of what he's up against. He expects Stevenson to rely on movement and distance, maintaining his usual strategy of controlling the ring without engaging in prolonged exchanges. Zepeda's plan, though not detailed publicly, likely revolves around cutting off the ring, landing body shots, and forcing Stevenson into uncomfortable positions. With a slight reach advantage, Zepeda could use his jab to disrupt Stevenson's rhythm and take away his ability to move freely. However, executing this strategy will require flawless footwork and sustained energy over 12 rounds, something few fighters have managed against Stevenson's elusive style. The broader context of the fight adds another layer of intrigue. Stevenson has been vocal about wanting to prove himself against top competition, claiming Zepeda has been avoiding him for years. He views this as an opportunity to showcase his dominance and silence critics who question his aggression. Promoters like Hearn see this as a defining moment for Stevenson to cement his status as a global star. Hearn compares Stevenson's potential to that of boxing's all-time greats, arguing that a convincing win over Zepeda could elevate him to mainstream recognition. However, the pressure isn't just on Stevenson to win, but to do so in a way that captivates fans tired of his methodical approach. Zepeda, meanwhile, is fighting for more than just a win. A victory over Stevenson would catapult him into the lightweight elite, positioning him for a shot at a full world title. His recent performances against Farmer have proven he can handle high-level competition, but Stevenson represents a step up in technical skill. Zepeda's confidence stems from his belief that his pressure and volume can disrupt even the most disciplined fighters. He's prepared for a grueling 12-round battle, knowing that Stevenson rarely gives opponents clean openings. If Zepeda can force Stevenson to fight at close range or hesitate under pressure, he could turn the fight into a war of attrition, something Stevenson has largely avoided in his career. The debate among fans and analysts centers on whether Stevenson can neutralize Zepeda's aggression or if Zepeda's volume will overwhelm Stevenson's finesse. Supporters of Stevenson point to his Olympic pedigree, undefeated record, and ability to make opponents look ineffective. His footwork forces fighters to reset constantly, and his jab disrupts their rhythm, making it difficult to build momentum. Critics, however, argue that Stevenson's low output and reluctance to engage could cost him against a fighter like Zepeda, who thrives on activity and doesn't mind taking punches to land his own. If Stevenson relies solely on lateral movement and single counters, he risks losing rounds to Zepeda's relentless pace. The comparison to Tevin Farmer's performances against Zepeda is telling. Farmer, a defensive specialist with speed and trickiness, managed to give Zepeda problems in spots but couldn't sustain his resistance against the Mexican's pressure. Stevenson, who is quicker, more accurate, and better at angles than Farmer, is expected to pose an even greater challenge. However, the question remains whether Stevenson has the durability and heart to stand in the pocket and trade when necessary, or if he'll opt to outpoint Zepeda from a distance. Some analysts, like Sergio Mora, believe Stevenson's brilliance lies in his ability to make opponents look ineffective, regardless of their approach. Others, like Hackett, warn that Zepeda's work rate could expose any lapses in Stevenson's activity. For Stevenson, this fight is about more than just maintaining his undefeated record. It's a chance to answer critics who call him boring and prove he can handle a high-output pressure fighter like Zepeda. A knockout, as predicted by Davis, would be a statement, but even a dominant decision could quiet doubters if Stevenson shows more offensive flair. For Zepeda, the fight is an opportunity to break into the upper echelon of the lightweight division and show he can compete with boxing's best. His strategy will likely focus on forcing Stevenson to fight at a pace he's uncomfortable with, using his volume and physicality to disrupt the champion's rhythm. As the fight approaches, the boxing world is divided. Some see Stevenson's technical mastery as untouchable, predicting he'll make Zepeda look amateurish in spots. Others believe Zepeda's relentless pressure could expose gaps in Stevenson's game, especially if he can't match the challenger's output. The outcome may hinge on small details: ring size, Stevenson's punch volume, Zepeda's ability to cut off the ring, or either fighter's ability to adapt under pressure. Regardless of the result, this matchup promises to be a fascinating clash of styles, with Stevenson's precision facing off against Zepeda's aggression in a fight that could shape the future of the lightweight division. Fans are eagerly awaiting July 12th to see if Stevenson can solidify his legacy or if Zepeda can pull off a career-defining upset.